Pregame.com.
We have the Clippers in the rare big home underdog role. This is Brad Powers in the Pregame.com studio. It's just off the Vegas Strip. We're talking Friday night NBA action. We got the San Antonio Spurs at the LA Clippers. Fez, who do you like in this matchup and why?
They're a big underdog for a reason. On the Spurs, -6 or less. No line out yet on the game, but that's my buy price. It's all about the Clippers being a tired team. I hear you. What's going on? How can the Clippers be tired off of the NBA break? Well, let's take a deep dive into the Clippers' past 30 days. So this is only their third home game in the past month. They had a 5-game road trip. They went home for 1 game. They went on another road trip for 5 games. They came home for 1 game. They had to play without Chris Paul for the majority of those games, had to give extra effort for those games. They finally put together a 4-game winning streak at the very end. I think this all is setting them up for having much less fresh legs than any other team in the NBA.
Now, you're going to have to do a better job of convincing me. You're talking about world-class NBA athletes, just had a week off, and you're telling me they're still going to be tired after playing only 1 game.
I am, because they have not been home for a month. So there's 2 scenarios here. They come back and they pack their bags and they head to Cancun off of 4 wins and party like the rock stars that they are. Or maybe even worse, they stay home in LA, a very fun town, and they go on a massive bender for a week because they have not been home. And I think it sets them up coming back to not be ready to play the back-to-back that they're going to go ahead and have to play here.
Now, one thing I do agree with you is the Clippers have been prone not to be playing well on back-to-back. In fact, they're 0-6 straight up their last 6 games when they're playing back-to-back nights, 1-5 against the number. So that's something that's in your favor. But let's move over to the Spurs. Any concerns? They're on their annual rodeo trip.
Well, it's not their first rodeo. People that follow the NBA know that every February, the rodeo, I guess it leaves Vegas, maybe it goes to Santa Cruz. I don't know where it goes, but it winds up in San Antonio, and they book up the stadium, and so the Spurs have to be on the road for 8 to 10 games. And the only tricky thing here is that it came during the All-Star break, so they were on the road for 5 or 6 games, had the break, and then they have to stay on the road. But this is a point of emphasis every year, and the Spurs typically do very well on this road trip.
Now let's talk power ratings here. You post your NBA power ratings each and every Monday in the Pregame.com forums. I'm kind of intrigued about how you've handled the Clippers here. Without Chris Paul originally, and then they get Blake Griffin back. Talk to me about the Clippers. Where do they stand in your power ratings?
Yeah, so the Clippers and my power ratings with Blake Griffin and Chris Paul about +5, 5 points better than an average team. Not quite good enough to win the title, but good enough if things broke right to make the Final Four. And then what I did is without Chris Paul, I lowered them to a below average team. Without Blake Griffin, Blake came back. And right now, they're just about an average NBA team. I have them rated as a 0. Contrast that with the San Antonio Spurs. I have them 8 points better than the Clippers. So that's an 8-point spread on a neutral based right now on my power ratings.
Now, hold up here. I got to do some math here. You said an 8-point spread on a neutral, but you got to give the Clippers probably 3 points of home court advantage. I got 5 here, and you're telling me that's going to be a bet for you here with the Spurs?
And that brings me to my second handicapping point, and it's the situational spot. The Clippers have a very questionable focus for this game. You say, how can they not be focused for, they're right out of the break? Well, they're playing the number 2 team in the NBA. However, the night before, they're playing the number 1 team in the NBA. They're playing Golden State. You know they're going to bring it in that game. And further, in that game in the Bay Area, they've been punked 3 straight times, embarrassed by Golden State. One of those embarrassments was by 40 points when they last played in Golden State. You know they're going to bring full effort there. Very bad spot to come home, which they have not been, to have to play against a rested Spurs team.
Yeah, I'll take it even further. I mean, the odds are that they're going to probably lose to Golden State again in that game, maybe even by double digits. Are they going to be a demoralized team at 1 game coming out of the break?
And again, we're taping Wednesday night, so we don't know what's going to happen on Thursday night, but 2 scenarios. 1, they're demoralized, they get smashed again. Or 2, it's a close game and they got to bring out full effort. Both are bad.
And as far as the Spurs, going with them, you're going to get max motivation as far as they're concerned.
Oh, my gosh, are we ever. So the Spurs are used to the rodeo trip, and they come in fully rested. And what's the one team this year that they've lost twice to? the clip joints. You know they have this game circled big time. They're not going to be on the beach partying in Cancun, not thinking about this game. I think they're a much more workmanlike, professional team. They'll be ready to go out of the break.
All right, let's make this one official.
Let's make it official. My pre-opener handicap has me on the Spurs at -6 points or less. The Clips are tired right now. That seems crazy, a team right off the break, but this is only their third home game in over a month. And their focus was on the Golden State game Thursday. Now they face a rested Spurs team hell-bent on avenging 2 losses to the Clippers already this year. The Fez Math says San Antonio -6 or less. More videos at pregame.com.